In today's video, I'll be replacing the Xenon dipped beam headlamp bulbs on an Audi A4 B8. Only one light is out on this car, the dipped beam on this side, but as both bulbs have had the same service life, I will be changing the near side too. Accessibility on this offside is pretty poor, and as you will see in here, short of removing this air filter box, there is no way of getting any ordinary human-sized hands in here. The passenger side, the near side, is a very different story, as access is good. There are 5 bolts that hold this headlamp into the car on the offside. To gain access to the fixings to this headlamp, I'm just going to remove this centre trim here, which is very easy. You've got these 4 little clips here. You need to push the inserts down slightly and then lift these clips out. Be careful that the inserts that you push down don't disappear altogether, which is very easy, as you can't really pull them out upwards. So be really careful. Try and hold them from underneath, which you can do when you push them through, and then these clips come off. Peg is simply pressed in, and then we can lever out the clip. So these are all off now, except for this one, last one here. And now this can be lifted out, a couple of clips. It's off the car. Headlamp is held in with Torx bolts, 2 at the front here and 2 down here. They're T30. And this connector here also needs to be disconnected. The front bolts need to be removed completely. Note that this one has a fine thread and this one is a self-tapping fixing. These rear 2 fixings are slotted fixings, so these only need to be loosened and not entirely removed. And this connector needs to be removed now. There is one final bolt that needs to be loosened here. Loosen and remove this additional bolt. And the headlamp can now be removed. Headlamp just comes out. For ease, the headlamp is now on my workbench and the lamp in question, the bulb in question, lives beneath this cover. You need to disconnect this connector here. And the bulb will twist away from its position, anti-clockwise slightly, and here is the bulb. And here is the replacement from Osram. These were £50 each, quite expensive compared to conventional halogen, or dare I even say tungsten bulbs. Bulb is correctly seated. And it is then twisted to the right. That has clicked into position. I needed both hands to do that, one to secure it and one to twist it, but it kind of snapped into position there. It's important that it's seated correctly, and it's now a case of reconnecting this. Reconnected. With the headlamp removed, you can see how this is put together. So these bolts here, the slots on the headlamps just slot into these bolts, and when we retighten these, secures it in place. And there's not much more to it than that. Time to refit the headlamp. Just one little consideration, there is a little drain down here, and that needs to be plugged into this little pipe right here. This drains off any moisture from the headlamp, keeps it ventilated. Push back in position, and I could see that the drain did reconnect under there as well. And refit these fixings. Fine threaded bolt on the outside, coarse threaded self-tapping type here, and the two bolts down there are neatly slotted in to the grooves on the headlamp. They just need tightening too. And this top bolt here, push that in there and tighten. And just reconnect the connector block. Job done. Okay, let's see if it works. Yes, it does. All good. And on the passenger side, it's a whole lot easier because you can get full access here without removing the headlamp unit. So we remove the cover, it is then just a case of disconnecting this connector block here, twisting this unit anti-clockwise and removing it, refitting the new one, twisting it clockwise, reconnect, and reconnect this cover. You don't need to see me change this one. I'll do this one off camera. It's very straightforward on the near side. So that's it for today's video. A really nice, quick and simple one. I hope this is helpful if you plan to change your Xenon headlamp bulbs on your Audi A4 B8. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again in a video very soon. Thank you and goodbye.